join us. Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Ferguson. I'm the Executive Director of AustinUP. AustinUP is a nonprofit. It was formed in 2014 as a result of the Mayor's Task Force on Aging. We work on issues related to the future of aging in Austin, and employment and career opportunities, well, that's one of those issues. So we're very excited to have Mahani Zubeidi talk to us today about connecting to customers through storytelling. And that's one thing that we found is that, especially in the post-pandemic or current pandemic days, a lot of people are saying, okay, I've had it with the staffer job and I want to do something on my own. And so there are a lot of older adults who are moving into this entrepreneur phase or role. So we're very excited to present this kind of programming. Mahani is a co-founder of Story Sisters, and that's a nonprofit of women supporting women through stories, and also the Story Heart School, where she gives women business owners storytelling tools to connect and grow their business. So she has a huge background in this topic, and she's also worked in marketing for brands like Cadbury, Coca-Cola, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, creating messages that resonate. So Mahani, we're very excited to have you here today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Welcome, Rich and Arfa. We are very cozy. You're very welcome to join us with video and audio if you like, but if you choose not to, that's okay too. So welcome to Story Heart School Storytelling to connect with customers and grow your business. I am super excited to be here. We are contemporaries. I'm 64 years old. My name is Mahani, and I started Story Heart School during the pandemic. I give business owners easy, actionable storytelling tools and brand building strategies through stories. I have 12 years experience with multinational advertising agencies and working with products like Teresa shared, Cadbury, Coca-Cola, Martell Brandy, to create messages that stick for these businesses. And I founded Story Sisters 5 years ago, community of women 50 plus, connect and support through stories. I would love to take a moment to learn just a little bit about you, where you are at, what stage of your business you're in, and your name and business name. And if you would like, if you rather not have your audio on, you can type it on chat. So we'll take 2 minutes. Tell me where you're at. Are you at the very early stage? Are you thinking about starting a business? Have you been in business for a while? If you would share that, it would be great. Do we have any response, Teresa?
No. Let's see one. Just thinking about starting something to do with corporate storytelling. One person said.
Okay. Okay.
So talking about the value of corporate storytelling, which is true.
Okay. So what you're going to get today, understand why and how storytelling is an essential business tool. Get easy, actionable tools to connect with customers. So at the start, let's look at what it means to connect with your customers. What does it mean? What is connecting with customers? Well, one way we'd like to look at this is you connect with your customer when you give your customer what she needs. As a business owner, this is super, super important. You need to give your customer what she needs. And to do that, you need to know who is your customer, what is your customer need, and why she needs it. Or another way to say it is, what is the need under her need? Next, let's look at what is a story. You and I have definitions, have ideas of what we think a story is. But for the purpose of connecting with your customer, think of a story as information that creates feelings and reactions using the senses. A story can be an image like this Pepsi poster. It can be words, it can be audio, it can be video, it can be combinations. So this is how I'd like you to think about a story. So let's look at this story. It is a poster of a bowl of fries and a can of Pepsi. When we see this poster, we have a story in our minds. Each of us have a story in our minds. It could be fries and Pepsi go together, or fries makes thirst and Pepsi quenches thirst. This poster is visually stunning and bold. The fries have come alive and are reaching for the Pepsi. And you can almost feel, you can almost touch that ice cold can of Pepsi. The can is open, and you might even taste the Pepsi or smell it even. Now, imagine you are the owner of the brand called Pepsi. Who is the customer? What does the customer need? What is the need under her need? These are the questions as a brand owner you would ask. Now, the reaction to this poster, to this story, depends on the customer. So when I look at this poster, I see like a skeleton hand reaching for 22 teaspoons of sugar. I am not the customer. But Pepsi's customers, they are teens to 35-year-olds. They are young. On one level, what they need is to quench their thirst. They've just had a meal. They've just had a bag of fries. They're thirsty. But what is the need under the customer need? Well, when you're young, you need to feel like you're bold, that you can do whatever you want, you are popular, you're adventurous. And so Pepsi makes this poster. It is hip, it is bold, it is adventurous, it is funny, it is a little weird. And, you know, a young person that drinks Pepsi feels like, yeah, she belongs in this bold and popular group of young people. And the way Pepsi achieves this is through the senses. You see this visually stunning poster. You can almost taste and touch the soda. Let's look at another ad, another story. This is a Facebook ad. So for small businesses, Facebook ads, Instagram, these are a great way to reach targeted customers. This ad is for Daily Burn, an online virtual workout. This one is targeted to brand new mothers. And it reads, nap time equals mommy time, AKA workout time. I am loving the Daily Burn and their short workouts, which are perfect for peace nap times. Amy, I love the intimate language of this ad. You feel special reading it. There is an interactive component. You might be wondering, is P a boy? Is the baby a girl? What could be his or her name? So you are participating in this ad. And in this ad, the young mother is in living color, while the furniture, everything around her is either white or subdued. She's doing a pose, she's got it, but there's a sense that she is a teeny bit off spatially. She's just had a baby. Her body is changing, not quite in balance, but getting there. And that cushy rubber blue mat is so reassuring. It holds her. And you can almost feel the rubber cushioners on the palms of her hand. So imagine you are the owner of Daily Burn. Who is your customer? What does she need? What is the need under her need? So she is a young mother, brand new. Her baby's nap time is the only time now she has for herself. She needs to work out. What is the need under her need? She needs time for herself. She needs self-love, sense of self-care. How does Daily Burn want her to feel? Well, she's special. She is super special. And to achieve this feeling, Daily Burn makes her colorful. Everything around her is subdued. She stands out. And the language, it's intimate. It connects. So this is the brain, not on story. So when you are reading, say, a refrigerator brochure or technical information, the language, words, word meaning, concepts, those parts of your brain are engaged. When your brain is on story, so remember we say that a story is information that creates emotions and reactions using the senses. So when your brain is on story, the language, words, and meanings parts of the brains are activated. In addition, depending on the story, the senses are activated in. So for example, in that Pepsi poster, to me, all the 5 senses were activated. I could see this bold poster. I can almost touch that cold can. I can hear the can open and that fizzle. And I can imagine the taste, maybe even smell. But mostly see, touch, hear, and taste for the Pepsi. So already, when we give information and we use the senses, there is a lot more going on in the customer's brain. And when the senses are stimulated, when the senses are activated, this is what happens. The senses stimulate emotions. We respond to what we see, to what we hear. We process the emotions. We put things in context. We put ourselves in the story. We co-create the story, from the simplest story to the deepest, most complex stories. We co-create it. Memories of our experiences will flood, and we put ourselves in the story. This is why stories are effective to connect with customers and are essential business tools. Also, in Dr. Yuri Hassan, a neuroscientist from Princeton, in 2011, he did an experiment. He scanned the brains of a storyteller and 5 story listeners. And he started the scanning when they were still chit-chatting. But what he found is that as soon as the storyteller starts the story, her brain activity and the brain activities of the listeners, they sync up. He calls it they sync up. So when you're in a room and you're listening to a story or watching a movie, everyone has similar feelings, but their versions of it. That's what a story does. And the takeaway from this is, if you tell a story with specific sensory details and you feel a certain emotion, your listener feels it too. So this is not new. Advertisers use this technique all the time. So do religious leaders. So when you tell a story, tell it like a pastor, a rabbi, or an imam. And what religious leaders do is they will decide on a message they want to preach, and they find a story that illustrates the message. So that's how you need to tell your stories to your customers. Not like Chekhov or George Saunders, like your pastor, your rabbi, or your imam. So storytelling, to connect with your customer, you need to know your customer need and the need under her need. You need to know how you want her to feel. And when you tell her the story, be aware of the senses that you are activating. What are you showing her? What is she hearing? What is she listening? What is she feeling? What is she touching? Just be aware of all the senses. And by the way, it's not just the 5 senses, it is also her relationship to space, as in Daily Burn. And to do this, you need to really know your customer. You really need to know, her intimately. You need to know her deeply. So one tool that I use is a customer story worksheet. And so Teresa will send you a copy. We will send you a copy of this worksheet. And actually, we can even do it together if you like right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to share the worksheet. Can everyone see the worksheet?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, hold up. I need to bring it up. All right, let's bring it all the way up. So there are 3 sheets altogether. The first sheet focuses on your customer. And so the first questions you need to ask is age, gender, income. You could also get into the psychographics. Who is she? What does she like? What toothpaste does she use? Where does she shop? What social media? You can really get into who she is. But minimally, age, gender, income. What need or problem is your product or service solving for your customer? What happens if it is not solved? Put yourself in your customer's shoes and imagine what that feels like. How does her problem not solved feel? And what has she tried so far? These information will help you understand your gift, what you are giving your customer, and how you're helping her with her needs. The second worksheet looks at what you are bringing. What is your gift to her? How are you really making a difference? Why are you qualified to help? What are your experiences? What have you done? What do you offer that others don't? What makes your product or service unique? How is your product or service better than trying to solve her problem alone? So most of us, when we have a problem, we try to solve it. We'll start Googling, we'll try to solve it. And then sooner or later, we'll tell ourselves, this is too difficult. I'm going to try something else. So get into her shoes, try to figure out what she has tried. What product or service do you offer? What can you promise? What guarantee do you offer? So the third sheet are questions about the customer transformation. What is your customer transformation after she uses your product or service? Imagine this, because it will help you to go back and create the answer to her needs. What new results will she see after 30 days, after 90, 180, 360? Now, this not only clarify on your end how to better serve your customers, it also will help you plan ahead. It's like, okay, after 30 days, what might she need? What else might she need? And so on for the year. It helps you plan, and it helps you stay connected. So, it's not like, oh, you sold her a product or a service and then, okay, you don't ever see her again, because most businesses are repeat businesses. When you've answered all these questions, and bear in mind that sometimes you need to have more than one lot of answers, because you may have slightly different customers. So for each customer, for each target market, you answer these questions. And then at the end of it, you write her story. And on a very, very, the core of this is your customer has a need. She finds you, she gets what she needs, and she succeeds. So this, you can just plug into this formula. Customer has need or hardship, she finds you, your product or service, she acts, and she succeeds. Now, an example that I give here is P. Terry's Burger Stand. I love P. Terry's Burger Stand as a brand story. They have an amazing brand story. They do a great job with their branding, their products, their service. So P. Terry's Burger Stand, customer, Austinite, 16 to 65, 29,000 plus household, needs fast, fresh, healthy food that is affordable. Find P. Terry's Burger, get wholesome nourishment without breaking the bank. So from here, you can write your elevator speech, something you tell people when people say, oh, what do you do? So I give customer, whoever your customer is, and your product or service. So it's, if you notice, it's just number one, number three, number two, number four. You just rearrange that customer story for your elevator pitch. So P. Terry's Burger Stand gives Austinite 16 to 65 P. Terry's Burger so that she gets fast, fresh, healthy food that is affordable, wholesome, and wholesome nourishment without breaking the bank. So play around with this, write your elevator speech, send it to 5 people. Ask them, who are my customers and what does my business do for them? The best way to do this is to have a list of 25 people you can send to, preferably, and then send to 5, tweak it, because this on one level, it is very simple. So because it is so simple, it is also easy to get it just slightly off. You want it to be as focused and uncluttered as you can, so that you have a deep understanding of what it is, who your customer is, and what you give that customer, what only you give your customer. So this is a great exercise. You send this off and you think, oh yes, I got this, and then your friend, says something else. So you tweak it and you tweak it until you are satisfied with your answers. So we will send you this worksheet. And if you have any questions, you are very welcome to ask Rich and Arfa.
Mahani, one question. How do you collect this information? Like, do you have focus groups? How do you get into the head of your different customer base?
Great question, Teresa. It's everything. It's just asking, being curious, asking, meet customers, read. The best is meeting. I think, during the pandemic, it's tricky.
Mhm.
Meeting, getting to know them, networking every way you can. I mean, if you have the budget, you can do focus groups, but small businesses, you have to be very creative to come up with a focus group.
And then for someone who is just test driving an idea, hasn't really started yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
honestly, the biggest challenge for small business owners is to declutter, refocus, because you have a lot of things you want to give, especially for services or even products, like, oh, I can do this, I can give this, oh, I can do this. And you just have to keep decluttering and just take out. Later you can bring them back in, but at the start, the simpler and cleaner you make it, the better. So your customer might be mothers. Okay, let me give you an example of a client of mine. She is a virtual assistant for families. So she started off, and because she's also a coach, she is a virtual assistant to families, and she also coaches women. She coaches women to be more organized, business owners, to time management. But because she has two different things, and ultimately they're two different markets, her message had been cluttered for 2 years. She had been in business for 2 years. And so when we got together, I suggested to her that you just at the start, just keep it clean and focused. And so then she opted for working mothers, and she specializes in summer camps. That's like her top, and anything to do with schools. And then thirdly, medical. So she's a virtual assistant for families. And it's just so, her website is so clear, her message is so clear now. So it's really about asking yourself, what do you feel is strongest, and how unique, what is it, what's unique about you, and who is most likely to benefit from your gift. And it's especially at the beginning, that's changing. It's okay, you just keep You just keep tweaking and tweaking until you get to the heart. Does that answer?
Yes, that makes sense. We have another comment from Arfa. So this works on the business/corporate level and also the product/service level?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, my tools are really common sense, and it is the kernel, the nut, you know. So it works on all levels, I believe, because it is very basic. I mean, if you look if you want to sell a product or service, you need to connect. And when you connect, when you give information and you use a story, which is information that uses the senses, that activates the senses, you are connecting. And when you connect is when people will remember you, and people are more likely to do business with you, to buy from you, to work with you. So yes, yes, it on all levels.
Makes sense. Continue on.
So let's so I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the slides. Stop sharing this. And okay. So to wrap up, stories are information that creates feelings, and reactions using the senses. Stories are essential business tools. Know your customer need and the need under her need. I think if you think of the need under her need, it sort of gives you a little bit more depth than why does she need it. Although why does she need it answers the questions too. I think Simon Sinek did the most popular talk on TED on, you know, people, why people buy something is really not what people buy, but why they buy it. Yeah, as a business owner, as a marketer, that's what you need to be aware of. And to think of it as the need under that need is just gives you a little more awareness of that sensory connection. So know how you want her to feel. And she connects most with ordinary stories with specific sensory details. And ordinary stories, if you think about that Pepsi poster, it's an ordinary story. You know, you eat fries, you get thirsty. Or the Daily Burn story, when you know, after you've had a baby, you want to lose, you know, you want to firm up, you want to tone up. So it's an ordinary story. What was extraordinary is the senses that, you know, that both the ads, you know, how both, so the Pepsi story was visually so stunning and bold. That is what's out of the ordinary. And so is the Daily Burn story, in a sort of really intimate way. it is out of the ordinary, the way she was placed, the way they used the color, the way they used the language, but the story itself is ordinary. And since, let me see, we have time, I am going to share an example. Google 2020 Super Bowl ad. And of course, this is Google. They have millions of dollars to spend on an ad. What I like about the ad is it is chock-a-block. It hits your senses, it's your sense of sight, your sense of smell, everything is just, let me pull that up. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and pull up this. I'm just going to go online here. This is an example. So when you look at this ad, do we have the ad? Do we have the ad on the screen?
Yes.
So when you look at this ad, think about, how does Google want us to feel? Just make a note of the things you remember. So let's, this was one of the most popular ads of 2020. Let me make it bigger and make your volume higher.
Hey Google, show me photos of me and Loretta. Remember, Loretta hated my mustache. Remember, Loretta loved going to Alaska and scallops. Show me photos from our anniversary. Remember, she always snorted when she laughed. Play our favorite movie. Remember, I'm the luckiest man in the world. Come on, boy.
That is an example of, it's I'm sorry, am I sharing my
No, it's just you.
okay. Yes, this is the, all right, am I back?
Yes, you're back. So Mahani, another question is, so if you have all this information and you think you know what your client thinks and the needs under the need and all, how do you convey that? I mean, sometimes, like for me, I don't have the graphic design skills or the artistic skills. So then do you build a team to help you do that, to help you convey these stories or tell these stories?
Well, yes, I mean, in a small business, often you are the team. And so you start off with your story. And I'm not saying all small business owners do this, but you start off with your story. And and you start off with your story, and then your product, and for the graphics, Canva, Canva, is magic. And if you really don't even want to get to creating anything, Fiverr would be one of your first go-to, Fiverr. They started off at $5 once upon a time. So, because you're also trying things out. So I wouldn't, as a small business owner, unless you know someone that is a graphic artist and you know the person well, because you are also trying to figure things out. So just keep experimenting and start building that team. But Canva is a very, very easy to use. The website is very low budget. You can just pay by the photograph, for example, or by the picture. You can get a gorgeous photograph. Say, let's say that Daily Burn photograph. You can search for woman doing yoga, let's say, and you just have to pay $1 for that. And you have no contract or anything like that. You just pay as you go.
That's good.
And honestly, as a small business owner, it is, most small business owners I know, they do it themselves. If they know of somebody who is dependable, they do. But at the beginning, you do it yourself because you're trying to figure it out. You're still trying to figure it out. And Canva is the place to go. Have you ever used it, Teresa?
Oh, definitely. And I like their templates. I didn't know about that you could purchase photos, one-offs and all. That's good. But I have used the templates like flyers or reports, things like that.
Yes. And that's the reality of, unless you have a huge funding and a huge budget, and especially at the very, very beginning, you're trying things out, you're experimenting. So can you imagine if you have a graphic designer doing that? Well, first of all, that designer is going to go, what? You just told me to do this, right? So Canva is the way to go because you get to try it out.
Good advice.
Yeah, and talking to your customers, and on that note, I want to offer an hour strategy session or goal setting session to both Rich and Arfa, because I want to learn about your business and where you're at and what are your needs.
And we have a couple others on the call too.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's I think especially for a small business at the beginning, the more you learn about your customers and one-on-one, whether it's a product or service, the more you learn, the better idea you have of how you can help.
I'll send that information to them after the presentation.
Okay.
And we are recording this, and we'll send the link to the recording as well.
Okay, and we've got 10 minutes. This is a good time for questions.
Feel free to unmute yourself and ask directly or add them to the chat. While we're waiting for people to ask any questions, Mahani, as you were talking, I realized that this process is really a tactile kind of process, touchy, feely, you're thinking. And then, which is interesting because we always talk about technology and how it can help small businesses. But this in this phase, it seems like a real intimate one-on-one kind of process.
It is, because it involves the senses,
Mhm.
you know, and that is all a story is, you know, and, you know, yeah, that's all a story is.
Right. Are there any other questions? We had asked at the beginning of the presentation about where you are in this process, if you're just first starting a new business or you're just thinking about it. And we've had a couple responses. In fact, Rich said that he's part of a university and market events to a group of networking supervisors. That's great. But for those who have added or have joined us a little bit later, tell us where you are in the process. Starting a business, building a customer base. Mahani, I guess that's it. No questions right now.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Arfa. I can't see the other two names.
Yes, we have a
Or
couple.
you know what? I know what I need to do. Gallery view. Okay, the others are okay. Raveen. Thank you, y'all, for coming.
Thank you, Mahani, and have the great rest of your vacation, okay?
Thank you. You have a great rest of the day.
All right. And thanks to everyone. Arfa says, thank you, Mahani. Thank you for coming. AustinUP.org. Check our website for future programs about jobs or careers or entrepreneur skills for older adults. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.